Hello, thank you for joining me. I thought I'd do a couple of little tips for you today. I'm sorry I haven't been able to do many videos lately. I've had to go and visit my mum. I was with her for a few days, so it was a bit difficult working from there. Anyway, so basically, I thought I'd give you a couple of tips that my teacher gave me when I was studying with her, and I found them really good. So one of the things I wanted to say is a very simple one. So if when you start doing your astrology readings, one thing that I would say is very important to bear in mind is just going to switch my emails off. Um, Something called if like for example the moon's transits. If you have moon in Uttarashada, which is funnily enough is occurring today. It's very important as an astrologer to be aware of it, because you don't want to actually be doing a reading on a day when moon is in Uttarashada. Reason being is because people are quite skeptical, generally speaking, on days when moon is in there. And even if you really give them very valid and good information, there is just a hesitance to receive, because obviously this is Sun's Nakshatra and it is partially in Sagittarius, which is Sagittarius, as you know, it's a very, we all have Sagittarius, but it's very like preaching, you know, and Sagittarius doesn't like to take advice, but it likes to give advice. And the other one is also the other tail end of this nakshatra is also in Capricorn. So this is where Sun thinks, you know, like, you know, the leaders, they think they are something above everybody else. So definitely that has an impact on the day as well. So you don't want to be doing that, generally speaking. And also don't forget partial part of this Abhijit used to be a nakshatra which used to exist within Capricorn, and that was taken out. And the whole point that that part of it has been taken out just means that, you know, it's like wasted energy for you. Don't do a reading for anyone on a day when moon is transiting this nakshatra. So that was the very first tip. And then I'm going to also do Prasna. I'm going to show you two Prasna techniques. So Prasna is, I always do a Prasna if I'm doing a reading, because obviously you got the person's chart and dates and everything else. You put that in and your software provides you with a chart that, and you also got their questions. You can actually have a look and see what you can, you know, you can help them with, which is lovely. Yeah, but obviously, sometimes you still need to. I always have a prashna because that gives me an idea what the problem is, or what the concerns do at the time of this. And I can tell you, it's always right. You ask the heavens, heavens always help you. So I'm just going to show you two examples of this. But I just wanted you to know that there was a time when I was having. Right, let me just get rid of myself. Okay. I was having a bit of problem with my neighbour upstairs, and I don't know really, because they're quite new, they're quite young, and it was like they could be as noisy as they like. But the moment I had a friend over, you know, or my daughter had a friend over, it was like too much. So, and I remember saying this to, you know, to my teacher at the time, and she did a prashna and just said, you know, let's see what the skies, the heavens are saying. And she said, when you do this, always look at the planets in any of the angular signs 1, 4, 7, 10. So if I was to be doing that, obviously I would not be doing a reading today because moon is in Uttarashada, so I would not choose to do one. But if I was, and what I would probably say is, you can see, so we have Jupiter. It's easier to see it on this chart actually, even though I do prefer South Indian, but you can see that you have Rahu Ketu in the 4th and the 10th house, and first house Jupiter is there. So what I would just sort of say, if somebody was to if I was to do this and I was doing a reading, I'll be thinking almost immediately that the person has an issue with work, just almost immediately, because K2 is a bit, creates problems, and in the 10th house. So that's what I would think. I'll be thinking that person is probably wondering about work. Maybe they applied for a job. Maybe they've been made redundant. Maybe, but it is to do with work. That is the problem. And also, obviously, because K2 is in Scorpio, their 10th house. So for Aquarius ascendant, so I'll be thinking that, yeah, there are some issues there with changing of job coming to an end. They were made redundant, something like that, and that's stopping you from stopping them from being happy at home. So that will be my kind of thing. But or if there are issues at work which are actually having an impact on their home life. And because Jupiter is there, I would just say, okay, so they need to use their wisdom, high wisdom. Be optimistic because things will work out. Jupiter in the first, everything will be okay. Jupiter blesses any chart. Then another one as well. So again, if somebody was coming to me and just saying, they wanted the reading, if I did this, I'd be thinking, what do we have in the angles, Mars and Venus? So I've just been thinking there are issues at home because it's also the 7th house as well. So there's arguments going on at home. There's a bit of control issue going on. Obviously, you can go into more depth because you read the chart, but that will give you, so I would just say, arguing with your spouse is not going to sort the problems out. This is the problem, are you having some marital issues, things like that. I'll wait till they actually say that to me, but I could just say that there's issues there. They're not, there's just, they're not actually, the degrees are not too bad. And it's in a nice house as well, Sagittarius, but nonetheless, that you always want to just make sure that the person is happy. They're not being sexually oppressed or sexually controlled. That's would definitely be the case that I would ask. I hope that was good. That's nice little tips. So they really help you, those little tips, to do better reading. So that's using a prashna. So using a prashna to ask a question. You can also ask a question for yourself. Say, for example, you want to apply for a job. You can ask the heavens, is it good to do that? And you can actually look at the angles and see. And then you can actually, obviously, so if, for example, with me, when I was having problems with and then what happened was it came as Gemini ascendant, and the only planet I had was in the 10th house, Pisces, but it was Mars. So she was saying, so how you need to deal with that issue is like a Mars. Mars will be like very direct. Don't put up with any nonsense. Just tell them, I'm sorry. I don't think we were very busy and very noisy or anything. And just, tackle it just like that. So that's what I did. I tackled it just like that. And it was fine. They didn't really bother us after that, and at one point they said something else. And but I just reminded them of the fact that they had a party till 3 a.m. and we didn't say anything. And this was only 8 p.m. and we were being, according to them, a little bit noisy. So Mars is very direct and says it as it is. Whereas if it was Saturn there, Saturn would be a little bit scared. But Mars in the 10th house, no issues. Just say it as it is. And that worked a treat. So that's it, guys. Thank you very much.